What if, issue 37, what if Wolverine and his ex-vampires conquered the world? Written by Roy Thomas, penciled by Mark S. Pacella, inked by Steve Montano, lettered by Janice Shang, colored by Renee Witterstatter. The Watcher resumes his cosmic vigil as the Timekeepers continue their ruthless efforts to preserve their chosen timeline, often at the expense of entire realities. He recalls a dark alternate reality in which Wolverine and the other X-Men were turned into vampires by Count Dracula, resulting in a bloodthirsty takeover of Manhattan. In that reality, Wolverine even killed Frank Castle, the Punisher, before the ghost of Doctor Strange could intervene, allowing the vampire plague to spread unchecked. The Timekeepers confront Uatu the Watcher about their next target, the third of 4 Nexus beings they believe must be destroyed to safeguard their existence. Uatu again challenges their motives, but the Keepers insist that survival, not morality, drives them. As they continue to justify their actions, they mention how even though they succeeded in eliminating one Nexus, which is the Vision in the 22nd century, their plans have often been thwarted, most notably when Franklin Richards was saved by the Fantastic Four. Even Dr. Doom and Iron Droid have escaped their efforts. Now they set their sights on eliminating the final 2 Nexus beings, to be on the safe side. Despite their overconfidence, the Watcher remains skeptical and curious. The Timekeepers reveal to the Watcher that one of the final 2 remaining Nexus beings they intend to eliminate is none other than Jean Grey, a powerful mutant the Watcher recognizes from his own timeline. They view her as a potential threat to the stability of the multiverse and urge the Watcher to do what he does best: observe, but do not interfere. Mr. Sinister allies himself with Madeline Pryor of this world, Jean Grey's clone, now fully transformed into the Goblin Queen. During the hellish Inferno event, he laments how Dracula's actions, turning the X-Men and other mutants into vampires, have disrupted his intricate plans. But Sinister, ever the schemer, believes he's found a solution: the Darkhold, an ancient mystical tome once studied by the late Doctor Strange. Sinister intends to use the Montesi formula within it to destroy all vampires instantly. As he sets off to retrieve the book from Strange's mansion, Goblin Queen pledges her support, revealing that she and her demonic ally, Nastir, have grander ambitions than Sinister can imagine. As Sinister races through the sewers beneath Bleecker Street towards Strange's home, he is not alone. Watching him from the shadows are the vampiric exterminators, mutated, undead versions of young mutants like Rusty, Richter, Boom Boom, Skids, and Whiz Kid. Once innocent children, they now serve Wolverine, their new vampiric overlord. The ambush begins with the exterminators springing from their bat forms, ordered to kill Sinister on Wolverine's command. Sinister, however, is no easy prey. He is attacked by Rusty, now a vampire, who launches a searing beam of energy, yet Sinister endures. He methodically fights back, even as he's surrounded. Despite his cold confidence, there's a flicker of hesitation of the thought of killing vampire children. Still, when Rusty lunges again, Sinister slays him with a silver strike, grimly noting that he's doing the boy a favor by freeing him from his undead servitude. Sinister continues his brutal march toward his goal, showing no hesitation or remorse. Using silver-lined glove, he swiftly tears out the hearts of the vampiric Boom Boom and Richter. Their remains are left behind in the sewer water. If Sinister feels any regret for killing former allies turned undead threats, it's buried deep within. Meanwhile, in Limbo, the Goblin Queen summons the demons Nastir and Sim to begin Inferno. While both demons pretend loyalty, each harbors their own hidden agenda. Nastir wants to become Earth's most powerful demon, while Sim desires the sword of Ilyana to rule Limbo. Still, they obey, and within moments, a horde of demons assembles at her command. The demonic invasion known as Inferno begins in full. Giant, monstrous demons pour through the portals into the city, descending upon an Earth twisted by fear and chaos. The narration draws parallels between this alternate world and the main Marvel universe, emphasizing that its people are just as real and just as vulnerable. Lord Wolverine learns that demons from Limbo are encroaching on his domain. With his consorts, Mystique, Destiny, and others by his side, he angrily prepares to retaliate, declaring that the human race is now cattle to him. Wolverine gathers his vampire X-Men for battle, shouting, "Let's party!" A full-page spread shows Wolverine's vampire X-Men charging forward, including Colossus, Beast, Rogue, Archangel, Iceman, and others. The narration contrasts the long-standing fear of vampires with the relatively new fear of mutants. These beings, once feared by humanity, now emerge from the shadows to face the threat of the Inferno demons. A massive battle erupts between the vampiric X-Men and invading demons. The team, including Sunspot, Dazzler, and Nightcrawler, fight fiercely. Despite initial losses, the tide slowly begins to turn in favor of the mutants. Wolverine quips mid-battle, demanding to know where the Big Daddy demon is, as Colossus smashes through foes and Beast claws his way through the fray. The final caption promises more carnage as the demon commander prepares for retaliation. But that's when Wolverine goes full berserker mode. Brutally slashing through Sim, he lands a fierce mid-air attack, proclaiming that he'll shove the demon's fangs down his throat. With a dramatic upward leap and savage strike, he finishes it off in a bloody spectacle, declaring himself the new champion in an almost mocking wrestling-style tone. He delivers a final blow to the neck with a loud, stylized chop that emphasizes the power and finality of the blow. Back in Limbo, the Goblin Queen confronts the hulking green demon Nastir. She mocks him for his alliance with Sim and questions his courage now that their realm is exposed to the invading X-vampires. Nastir's confidence falters under her insults and the looming threat. Suddenly, the fearsome Dormammu makes his entrance, bursting with fiery energy. His intervention is decisive and overwhelming. Dormammu asserts dominance, declaring he's watched long enough from the sidelines. With explosive power, he attacks Nastir, dismissing him as a minor demon and obliterating him with radiant force. Dormammu turns his attention to the Goblin Queen and proposes an alliance. With Doctor Strange dead, he sees an opportunity to conquer entire realms. The Goblin Queen, enticed by the prospect of shared power and domination, agrees to his plan. Together, they vow to become supreme rulers of darkness and fire across the multiverse. The battle turns once more as a new threat emerges. The X-vampires, celebrating their hard-won triumph over Nastir's forces, are suddenly ambushed by a horde of mindless ones, brutish enforcers from Dormammu's dark dimension. These monstrous beings pour through a portal, unleashing destruction and deadly optic blasts. Their appearance is followed by even more demons from Dormammu's realm, overwhelming the exhausted vampire mutants. One of the first to fall is Cannonball, struck down by a devastating blast. Elsewhere on the battlefield, even the reanimated undead are not spared. Bobby Drake, now a vampiric version of Iceman dubbed the Ice Vampire, fights back valiantly, but his resistance is short-lived. He is annihilated, disintegrated by the Mindless One's brutal assault. The chaos spreads as Wolfsbane, Longshot, and Sabretooth also fall under the barrage. Overwhelmed, the remaining troops begin a retreat. Wolverine calls for regrouping as the situation grows more desperate by the second. But just as things seem dire, a mysterious voice offers hope. The surviving X-vampires, led by Lord Logan, are uncertain what to do next, but are interrupted by the dramatic arrival of Mr. Sinister. Brandishing the strange, ancient book, he claims to have power to stop the Mindless Ones. Despite skepticism from Logan and others, Sinister reveals the artifact, the Darkhold, not just any book, but a legendary tome of powerful dark magic. The fate of the battlefield might now depend on what's written within its cursed pages. Wolverine confronts Mr. Sinister with understandable skepticism, suspecting a hidden catch to Sinister's sudden offer of help. Sinister, holding the Darkhold, reveals its dual purpose. He can either obliterate the remaining vampire X-Men or grant them even greater power. But there's a price. In exchange for salvation from Dormammu and his mindless ones, the vampire mutants must agree to be permanently exiled from Earth. With little time to decide and the mindless ones advancing, Logan and the other undead mutants realize they have no better option. Wolverine reluctantly agrees, telling Sinister to show me the dotted line. With a dark incantation from the Darkhold, Sinister binds the vampire mutants to his will and imbues them with even more potent unholy energy. Reinvigorated and more powerful than ever, Wolverine, Colossus, Rogue, and the others launch themselves into battle with newfound fury, declaring there will be no third round. This is their final stand. Meanwhile, in Dormammu's dark realm, the tide begins to turn against the Demon Lord. The energies now being wielded are ancient and overwhelming, drawing from the elder god Chthon through the Darkhold. Dormammu realizes his domain is under siege by the very mutant vampires he once sought to control. Despite his orders for a counterattack and cries for vengeance against the desecration of Strange's sanctum, it may already be too late. The enhanced mutant vampires, led by Wolverine and empowered by forbidden magic, are fighting with unmatched ferocity, pushing deep into Dormammu's stronghold. As Dormammu rallies his demonic legions and the Goblin Queen charges into battle, she encounters her genetic origin, Jean Grey, the original template from which she was cloned. The two women clash, each empowered by immense forces. Meanwhile, Colossus rockets through the battlefield, a steel juggernaut against Dormammu's horde. The robed and mysterious figure of the Whisperer appears again, and this time to Jean Grey, and halts time around her. It draws her astral form from her body and delivers a grave message. She must defeat Dormammu, or the universe will fall. And there's only one way to do it. A horrible, unspeakable method she initially refuses. But the Spectre knows Jean better than she realizes. After a moment of horror and resistance, Jean reluctantly agrees and returns to her body, prepared to do what must be done. Jean Grey transforms, once again becoming the host for the Phoenix Force. Though it is excruciating, Jean accepts the cosmic power. The moment she does, she incinerates Madeline Pryor in an instant, destroying her as if she were a dry leaf in a sudden flame. Now empowered and transformed, Jean/Phoenix rises as a radiant force of energy, poised to confront Dormammu and halt his invasion once and for all. She unleashes her cosmic power and utterly annihilates Dormammu, bringing an end to the battle. Colossus solemnly notes that Lord Wolverine has vanished, disappearing the moment victory was achieved. As the ex-vampires accept their exile, it's revealed that Wolverine has been taken between worlds by the Whisperer. His ultimate purpose still unknown. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Mr. Sinister begins a sinister scheme, using stolen genetic samples to recreate Jean Grey and the X-Men in their pre-vampiric forms, intending to claim the future through his mutants. But the Timekeepers in Uatu, observing from afar, realize the Timekeepers have lost yet another timeline to chaos. 2 of the 3 now gone, marking the situation as critical. Uatu also notices that one of the Timekeepers has vanished. Elsewhere, as the issue ends, we find ourselves in the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and an alarm begins to blare. A timequake has struck, one of major magnitude on the Simon Walt scale. This could be the big one. Thanks for being here for this part of Timequake. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next exciting installment, and make sure to head to Twitter and check out hashtag SBTU or hashtag SuperBlogTeamUp. Should be able to find all of the great participants taking part in the Superblog Team Up event in time.